Good day, everybody. Sue Johnson here. This is our MacGregor Point Provincial Park camping video. It might be in two parts, I'm not sure, because I find that most people don't want videos that are too long, but they do like to see some stuff. So some of the highlights were the beaches, the trails, conversations together, cooking over the fire, cooking with the Coleman stove. Actually, it's not Coleman, it's a butane stove. Anyway, and bears. Bears. I was afraid of bears. Before we left for our camping trip, I confessed my fear to Stanley, and he was great at reassuring me. We have a granddaughter who used to work in forestry, and part of her job was lifting bears out of a certain area if they were, for example, if they were hanging around in your pool. They would dart them, put them to sleep, airlift them out, put them in a nice safe area. So I thought maybe they would do that in a campground. I mean, this is a campground with a lot of people. You don't want a bear wandering around. Well, we arrived at our check-in point, and this is what I found. So naturally, I had a lot of questions. And the girl at the gate, I'm not sure if they call them park rangers, but she had a great conversation with us and reassured me.
Um, so yeah, he kind of just frequents that area sometimes. But he's really not anything to worry about as long as you're keeping the site clean, like free of garbage or leaving food overnight. You should be good.
So when we cook, we don't cook in the tent, we cook outside the tent?
Yep, you just cook outside the tent and make sure everything's cleaned up, and then just don't store any food in the tent either. Just keep it in the car.
Our tent is an extension of the car.
Right, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, for sure. As long as it's kind of sealed, like.
But we have a cooler, the lid cooler.
Yep, just keep it in the cooler and just in the main part of the vehicle, as long as there's like the doors are closed and everything.
Well, see, no, okay, so it's a Honda, and you open up the hatch, and the tent attaches to the hatch.
I just explained that.
So then, and I sleep in the back of the Honda, and he sleeps in the tent when we keep our table and our cooler and stuff like that in there. So
Sure.
it's just that it's our first time in a
Yeah,
provincial
no
park,
problem.
like, you know.
Yeah, of course. I don't think the bear would bother you or anything,
Okay.
but I'll ask my supervisor if there's any like extra precautions you can take.
So if we do happen, like if I wake up and I see a bear out there, I'll just call out to Stanley. He'd be sleeping in the tent part.
Do we call a phone number or anything?
You can call our phone number here to report any bears. Our bear's pretty scared of people, so I doubt that he'd come up to you like that. But if he did, if any bears come up to you like that, it's you're just making yourself look big, you're making a lot of noise, it usually scares them off. They're just black bears.
Okay.
So they're not too big. They're also pretty scared of people.
All right.
But if you're worried, I can always ask my supervisor if there's any extra precautions you should be taking if the tent is kind of in the vehicle as well.
Okay.
So he's been here for 2 years.
A few years now.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the same one. He's pretty young. It's the only one really in our area that has frequented the park.
Okay.
He's pretty scared of people, so we don't really see him on a regular basis.
Right.
You
Okay.
haven't had an incident of him
No.
attacking somebody?
No, we've never had any incidents or anything like that. Black bears are also very rare to have like a violent incident like that.
Yeah.
He's also very scared of people. He's just interested in like the food at the dumpsters that's been left. He's never gone onto an occupied site or gone up to people or anything like that. So.
Okay.
So we're probably not going to see him.
Okay.
So we head out to our site, number 116, which we later found out was very close to the beach, one of the beaches, and we begin our setup. I'm doing this by myself in case anybody asks, because Stanley had to go to the washroom. I mean, we had a 2-hour trip getting here. He had to go, but he comes back. Gaining from previous camping experience. Now keep in mind, we haven't done this a lot. For some reason, I decided that we should start it up last year. So we're a bit old and late coming to this, but previous experiences taught us that you lay out the tarp, and if it's windy, You nail it down first. So we get the tarp in position. And then I realized, or I've learned, that you also position the tent in the right way so that you can get the sleeve up over the hatch of the vehicle because it attaches to the vehicle. So we're getting a little bit more adept at all this. I'm going to fast forward all of this because you know how to set up a tent, right? Setting up a tent as a couple can be a great bonding experience. Or not. Or maybe it's where you find out where you're different, where you think different. Because this is still kind of a relatively new experience for the two of us, we decided to sit down and talk about some things like designated roles. So Stanley became the hammer the tent pegs in guy, and I set up the other stuff. And then, as Stanley said, when you need me, just tell me and give me some instructions. Give me an idea what you want me to do. So that's what we did. We're trying to make this as streamlined as possible because you really don't want to struggle and argue about certain points like who's got what and what are you doing, why are you doing that. You just want to be patient with one another and get through the process of setting up the tent, setting up the campsite. I can say that it took about 40 minutes to actually get all the gear into the car. It took 2 hours to drive to our spot, and then it took probably a couple hours to set up camp. And then eventually, on our last day, it took about 3 hours to take it down because we did have rain. We had a lot of wet that we had to wipe up while we were packing up. So, but you know what? Communication and being patient with one another and having a positive attitude, those are three main things in helping it become a streamlined process, one that you can enjoy. So it's like, get the work done so that we can sit down and relax. And that's what we did. Grass mat for the front door. Hello, Ken. How are you doing?
So far, so good. Just pulls it back out.
It's not sticking in.
Let me just try a different angle.
There we go. There's a knack to getting into the back of a Honda from the tent. So I put my foot on the boot of the car, I grab the top, and then you just learn how to shift your weight and get in. Getting out's a little bit easier, just kind of slide off the edge. I've found that if I put a blanket over the back of the vehicle, the bumper and so forth, that it's much easier to slide off. So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to reach into the vehicle to get all the other stuff that we need out to set up inside the tent, like the table, the stove, Stanley's hat, his bed, which is what I'm going to pull out next. Now don't be treating now. The dent in your hat is with your head. Here goes your bed.
Good, thank you.
Pick up your bed and walk.
Pick up your bed and walk. Look at this. Can you believe it?
I don't know if I'm in the camera or not.
This is the Queen's throne.
But if I am in the camera, a lot of good hard work deserves a break. So what'd you call that?
The Queen's throne.
Yeah, lovely.
And I am her most humble servant.
Yeah, the older I get, the more I boss around. But don't tell Stanley.
I just like to let Susie realize that perhaps That's a long shot, but she might be the boss. She's
Oh,
smart.
so what you're saying is you're pretending sometimes that I'm the
Yeah,
boss.
she's a smart kid. She's not as smart as me, but she's smart.
Wait a minute. How many degrees do I have? All right, let's not go
Yours has
there.
An extra panel or something, doesn't it?
Extra panel? No.
No?
There you go. Actually, my chair says king. Oh, I'll have to change that.
Hey, Sue, do we have a can opener for popping beer caps?
I know I have a can opener. Yeah, we do.
Do we?
There should be one in the picnic basket.
This?
There's supposed to be one in the lid
This
of.
one?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
the
yeah, it's equipped with all that stuff. I think the sun might be giving a little pop.
Actually, for us, it's good. Oh,
Look, they're empty.
okay.
They're empty. So, oh, wait a minute, there's something at the bottom.
But I'll tell you where there is one. The glove compartment of the car.
Hey?
The glove compartment of the car. Oh, look at the stuff I have to unload yet. I can't get at it, sorry. Yep. I always keep one handy for when we have picnics. Look at that.
So smart. You see, that's what I mean, ladies and gentlemen. Susie is not only smart, but she has incredible memory, which can put me in jeopardy. But anyway, I'm a good boy, so it doesn't apply most of the time.
You know, in many ways, it's not about degrees or smartness or anything. It's about the fun you're having with the person that you're with.
Actually, that's true, and you have a lot of fun with me.
I do, yeah.
You would have been very disappointed this morning if I said I'm not going.
You wouldn't have done that.
I have.
Although, show your arm. See, he injured his arm at home, but he came anyways. Where's my refreshment?
What do you want?
I don't know what's in
I've
there.
got nothing to measure it with.
Yes, I brought it. It's in the
Okay, I think.
picnic. Okay,
it's
I'm
in
going to
that.
take a break now.
It's in that.
Table is over here. I'll give a better view of that in a bit. But the bedroom's not set up. Look at the mess in my bedroom. Oh, here's one of my boxes with cans of soup and butane in it. Let's see that. One box. Maybe I should put the camera this way. Don't mean to have my back to you sometimes, but oops. You had a fall. You just didn't know it. Box number 2. Box number 3 with dishes. And then here we go. I think that's pretty good. Wait a minute, you can't see it. Look here. Dishes. Mugs on the shelf. Utensils. Butane. Hi, sir. What's up?
Susie, where's my black shirt I on this morning? I hung it over the back
You
of the
threw it
seat.
in the back here somewhere. I'll get it for you just a second. So, as my friend would say, when she and her husband are both pilots, and when they go on vacation, they meet up, and she'll say she sent her Cabana Boy to go get the refreshments. Well, that's what I did. I sent out my Cabana Boy. So you're not the slave or the servant, you're the Cabana Boy right now. Wait a minute. Cabana? Isn't that something you sleep in?
I've got no, it's a caravan. I have absolutely no idea.
Anyway, so we're just taking a break from the setup, and it's a nice relaxing break, and that's what it's about. To relax, right, Stanley?
What's that?
I say we're just taking a break from setting up the tent and everything, and we still have more stuff to do, but we're taking a break, and it's a nice, relaxing break. And that's what we're supposed to do, right?
Has that hat been bent? It's been bent?
Sorry?
Is it out of shape?
Your hat?
Yeah.
He's always worried about his hat.
I'm not worried.
He should sit on it and fix it up and then say, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. It was just sitting up on a nice, secure area in the car while we drove over here, which took how long?
Drove here?
Yeah.
Well, the actual driving time, a couple of hours anyway.
Yeah.
Imagine me going around Walt Disney with this hat on.
Why not?
That's a disgrace.
I got that hat at
But
Hollywood Studios. No, not Hollywood Studios.
Did it look like that when you got it? Pretty well.
Yeah. That's the design of it.
I know it is.
Universal Studios,
Universal hat?
which is the movie studio one next to Disney, kind of next to Disney. Just make sure there's no bees in there. One time there was a bee in his hat, and he put the hat on and he didn't know the bee was in it, and it stung his head. That was at Disney. We were at the Whoop-de-Doo dinner and show, and a lot of picnic tables, and he just picked up his hat, put it on, and stung him in the head. Remember that?
I do remember it well. You love to hide up inside your hat. But what, had I taken it off or something?
Yeah. It was on the table while we were eating dinner.
Oh.
Then we were done and the show started, and you put your hat on. And then somebody of authority came over and they brought Benadryl and stuff like that for you. Or did we have to go to first aid? I forget.
I'm not sure, but I think they gave me a shot, which I probably didn't need.
Yeah,
They did.
It was just in case. They were making sure everything's covered. So.
Hey, how's it going, you hoser?
Remember that? That show. The two guys, and they called each other a hoser.
Oh, I remember that, but remember but forget.
The True North or something. I'll have to look it up. A couple of Canadians had a great show. And that's how they would start it off, the two of them sitting there, sort of like rednecks, whatever rednecks are. What are rednecks anyway?
Oh, they're just usually rough and tumble people. A little bit jagged around the edges, don't have necessarily good manners. They burp at the table.
And a few other things.
And a few other things.
And they wore T-shirts and lumberjack shirts.
Usually have a beer belly, but not necessarily.
Well, those two didn't.
But yeah, rednecks are sort of the, you wouldn't call it the gentleman of society. They would be the
rough and tumble
guy hanging around the back street.
Okay, well, that's it for today, or at least for now. We'll talk to you later. Our first wild visitor was a hare. Later, a deer runs through.